Hey Crave team, this is especially going out to the lighting techs as I'm going to cover another update that happened to lighting this week. So last week I talked about the two faders. I put the strips down and how, for our services on page 2, basically, those can be manually run to load that preset that we're used to for their front lights, for worship, for announcements, for message. And then on the top right for the fifth fader, that actually turns the movers off for a song in case they're doing some weird stuff. And then there's the front row, it moved over here. And then the house lights, now we move all the way up, and instead of running them kind of in the middle, and also gives us a little more control if we want to dim it for a particular service, but for mostly we'll have it up here now. But now the change I want to cover, now that we have this in place, is you see that there's only one of the first two because everything's now combined into one. And if you're on the team this particular week, you would have seen that the sheet is different. We're down to 2 columns now instead of 3. And essentially I put the front cues programmed in with the color cues, and there's all my notes. And I guess this week ended up being a little bit longer because there's 3 songs with multi-cues. But so basically what I wanted to do was explain how basically when you come in now, what you would do is on the first fader here, it's going to say weekend services, but also what you should do here, if you're seeing this view here, what you should actually do is go to this 4th tab. This is playback. You'll click that, and there's a bunch of here, but then I moved our weekend services to the very top one, so it's super easy to find. So click one, and you'll see that the other screen's changing here, and this is the screen that you want to kind of get used to. We're going to kind of park on for the remainder of the service. Basically, it has all the labels that you're used to seeing on the cue sheet, and then now all my notes that I put in will be here right beside. Green is basically the first one queued up. Orange is next. So here, if I hit the play button, you'll see that the practice is loading, and we'd use this for band rehearsal. Oh yeah, and the other thing I have to do is I realized it didn't actually come up on stage because I hit play, but I also have to pull the fader up because that controls intensity. And now what you're seeing for lighting wise is what we'd use for practice. If you're here that early, usually Ade or Isaac, or perhaps one of the audio techs, if they're here first, will do that. But then when they're finished and they're on Saturday nights only, we'll do this online welcome. So we'll advance that, and you'll see the background's changed, but also the front lights have changed too, because I put those two together. And then usually, especially if you're on a Sunday, you would start with the welcome. So here I've loaded the walk-in and countdown video. It says play this cue after band rehearsal, such online welcome. And then I put and just a notice in there, which you already know, but you put up number 1 on the LED slides over here. So number 1 is up. And then, and so basically when it comes time for the worship, first you'd go to welcome. So usually Derek, sometimes the worship leader, so that you'll see the front lights came on for the band, but the background hasn't changed yet. They'll do their welcome. And when they actually start going into the song, then you transition this. And you'll see there is now this cue that says MIB, which just means move in black. And what it's done is it's taken, so I'm gonna go back so you see that again. So basically here on the welcome, you can see the movers with the arrows on the left and the right. So when I advance to the MIB, it fades the movers. And then what's happened, they're moving without being on, and then the next song loads, and then while that's loading, I would transition the backgrounds. And so you didn't see the movers come right back on because for this song, for the intro cue, they're hidden, but when I go to the next one, they're already in position, and they're going to start to flash there on the steps. There you can see it now. And then you'll follow the notes my cue sheet had the time codes to kind of listen for the musical changes in the track, but we'll advance along, and the notes are all there just to kind of give you a reference, but really you want to be listening with your ear, and then making those transitions as the song goes along and the band does it. And then so you see green is loaded, and then orange is what's coming. It's just telling you this is what's next. So it says, and then so they do the final thank God, and then you would load the ending, and there's a bit of a pulse going on. And then now when they start to play that, for the next song, you do this, the dimmers move, they get into position, you advance the LED, and the timing will sync up just great. And so I'm going to just now, and so scroll down, because you kind of go through the set, and then there's a third song, and then I'm going to jump down to the ending here. For House of the Lord is this particular third song of this weekend. So usually on the cue list, we'll go from this into a ministry time. And so this is where it's a little bit different because you're used to controlling a front light separately. But basically what I've done is when you do this first one, it's going to load just the front lights. So the steps are lit, but the band won't be as lit now. The background hasn't changed, because that's sometimes the ministry leader will come up and they'll kind of tie off the last song. Sometimes they'll repeat a chorus or a verse, something like that. So this movement, so this time it won't. The MIB will stay and it won't auto advance. So in the notes, you'll see the other ones. It said follow active, but here doesn't say that because I haven't set it to auto follow from MIB into the next one. Instead, basically, when they finish wrapping up the song, or the band is completely done playing the song and they're actually now shifting to praying, or however the ministry is going to go, then you want to do this and then change the background to coincide once they're completely done with the song, like that. And then the transition out back into worship is similar. You'll do that, and then you'll change the background into the next song, and so that'll time up nicely. And again, here, there's a little bit different. So you'll do this move in black, it'll dim the faders, and you'll see that the stage lights came on again, because when they come up to announcements, sometimes they'll again tie off the last song or do a little prayer or say amen, something like that. So I like to have the LEDs and the colors match with the song until they actually start announcements or they ask people to sit. At that point, you would advance this, the colors will change, and we'll bring up the matching LED to go with that. And then, so they'll do announcements, and then they'll move, the dimmers will do for the next one. And then right now I'm still waiting for the sermon intro. I haven't gotten it yet, so I haven't programmed colors yet. Otherwise, you'll see those slots are blank because I'm waiting for the message and walkout. But otherwise, there'll be one cue for the color transition while the sermon intro is playing. And then 2 seconds before the sermon intro is done, you hit play and the front lights will come up on, this week it's Tanika, but Pastor Mark or whoever's preaching. And so that's basically the main difference. I hope this new playback view is really helpful for you. The other nice thing is for the song, sometimes the band does it slightly differently, so you can easily use a mouse to jump a bit. Again, the more familiar with the song, you'll kind of, you'll understand sometimes where to do this. But if you're not sure, you can always ask whoever's sanctuary producing if the band isn't doing exactly the same way, and get a cue. And then once you're kind of caught up, then you can resume using the play on the fader 1, or you can choose to use the mouse. That would be fine as well. Alrighty, I know it's a bit of a long video, but it's a pretty big change from how we've been running so far. But I hope you guys like this change, and feel free to give me feedback if sometimes the notes don't make sense, or I'd love to be able to get the notes better if there's something that's going to work. Let me know, but hope you guys have a great time and enjoy this change. And I think there's still a few more changes coming, not right away, but I'm excited to roll out a few more things later on in the year. Talk to you soon.